Welcome back. You know, it's estimated that about 10,000 people in New York City alone were displaced by Sandy. FEMA tells us that they're still working out clearer numbers on the region's newly homeless population. But here is what we do know. There was a recent poll that was conducted that shows 2/3 of New Jersey residents say that they were impacted in ways small and large by Sandy. And 1 in 5 of those people say they were displaced from their homes for some period of time. Now, it all amounts to something of a housing crisis that has spawned some, well, creative solutions. We sat down with Mike Byrne, a federal coordinating officer with FEMA, to talk about the organization's efforts to try to find people places to live. Is the problem that you guys have around here, among the challenges, you don't have that much housing that you can just turn into temporary, let alone long-term for these folks?
Rich, you're absolutely correct, but to address that, we've announced a new program we're calling STEP. It's sheltering and a temporary essential power. And what this is a recognition. First and foremost, it was a recognition on our part, working with the leadership of the counties and the state, and at their, driving us to try to explore new possibilities, new ways of doing it. We're doing what is an unprecedented step for FEMA in providing temporary shelter for families that were impacted by the storm. This STEP program recognizes that the rental, available rental properties is not there. The available hotel space is not there. This is a very, unique environment compared to other places that we do disaster work and that I've done disaster work. But coming from New York, this is something that we recognized quickly that we needed to address. So to do that, we've come up with this STEP program. And it's important to recognize this STEP program is to create so that the home, get people back in their homes and providing the essential elements of a shelter so that they can live in their home while they're doing the rest of the repairs.
So again, if I can just clarify and then you spell it out for me, Mike, the idea that you guys are dealing with, and I went down and I covered Katrina, is a different animal. You don't have a Houston 2 hours away that you got half the city going out to. People want to stay in this region, and you can't just throw trailers up all over the place. So you guys are going to try as best you can to create the current where they lived, if they're not reduced to timber here, to try and make it habitable as much as you can, as fast as you can. Do I have it right?
You got it right on. That was well said.
Okay. So people dial the toll-free number. We put it up there on the screen. Yes. Walk me through the steps. If somebody gets on the phone with a FEMA rep, what are they going to be asked? What do they need to tell them?
Okay, well, the normal FEMA process is applying, letting them know what the damage it was. We'll send our inspector out there to inspect them. And I want to differentiate between this new emergency step that we're taking, because we believe that because of the weather conditions, that people's lives are at risk, that certainly their health and their safety is at risk. And that's why we've been able to take this additional measure. The regular FEMA program, the program called the Individual and Household Program, is still available to them. They need to apply to that, and they need to let us know that they're unable to be in their house so that we can then add them to the inspection and to the assessment so that we can apply this new measure of helping to get the power back to their house, do basic repairs to cover any openings in the house so that they can get in there, be warm, be safe, while they use the rest of their FEMA money or their insurance money or their assistance of a voluntary agency to do the rest of the repairs. Okay,
set expectations for the audience here. What is the new normal? We keep hearing about that. What should people expect? I mean, you guys are you're fighting the clock here. It's getting real cold real fast, and you got a lot of people who think they can ride this thing out, and frankly, they can't. Explain to people, it's not going to be perfect, but if everything breaks right for you guys, what your expectation is a week from now, a month from now, before the end of this calendar year.
Well, we're mobilizing, and it's not just FEMA. The state and the counties are also mobilizing, local contractors. Our goal is, and we're committed to using as many local resources and local contractors that we can to get them to do these emergency repairs. But in addition to that, we've also are in the process of letting our contracts, FEMA technical assistance contractors, that will add to the fight to get full mobilization, and we'll coordinate it with the counties and with the city to go where they want us to go, so that it's everybody's in the fight on this one. You know, in the past, in other communities, like you said, Katrina, New Yorkers went down and helped out. New Yorkers went down and helped rebuild the homes in the 9th Ward and in St. Bernard Parish and in Plaquemines Parish. Well, now it's the rest of the country's turn to come here to New York and for us to get those contractors, you know, in here so that we can do this emergency repair. There's still going to be plenty of work to do after that, but we got to move fast.
Mike, is there confusion on the ground level? I spoke to mayors, and they weren't sure if they were dealing with county officials, state officials, the feds, i.e. FEMA. Has it been streamlined enough that everybody should know who's talking to who?
You know, we do a lot of coordination. I have, you know, people on the street. You know, we do daily calls with the local officials and with congressional officials so that they're aware of what we're doing. Hey, but you know, we almost can never do enough. We'll do more. We'll do more outreach. I have over 1,200 community relations staff that go door to door in communities that were impacted by the storm. But if that's not enough, you know, first and foremost, I got to thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about the program so that we can reach a wider audience, because we need to get everybody on the same page. We need everybody to understand what it is we can do and to be honest and respectful of what we can't do.
Mike, with the exception of banging on LIPA to try and get their act together, what can I do to help in that? Who's standing in the way of you guys making this process get even expedited further? Do you have all the resources you need, whether it be dollars, boots on the ground? What do you not have that you need to get people a roof over their heads before we hit December?
You know, as far as the money, we've got the funding. Congress has been great. They fully funded FEMA last year, so we're in a position where FEMA can execute. You know, money is not a limiting factor in this environment. As to the other, you know, possible limiting factors, you know, time will tell. You know, we're going to be aggressive. You know, I've talked to a lot of contractors. The county executives and the city has talked to a lot of contractors. They're mobilizing. They're bringing the resources in, but we're going to monitor it. We're going to watch. We're going to make sure we get results, and if we don't get results, we're going to find other resources and other ways to get it done. You know, failure is not an option on this one.
Mike, are you a local guy? Are you from around this neck of the woods?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm from Yorkville, East Harlem area of Manhattan. My family's still there, and I was a New York City firefighter for 20 years before I joined FEMA.
So obviously this isn't a spot on the map to you. You know these places. You've been on the ground, I know. What's some of the sites you've seen that's making it tough going to sleep at night here, knowing where we are in the calendar and hearing some of these people speak to you directly? Anything stand out to you? You
know, well, it's hard to pick one place, I got to tell you. It's, you know, I can go from, you know, the devastation of the fire in Breezy Point, you know, the lack of, you know, the power outages in Far Rockaway, going to Gerritsen Beach. You know, when I was a fireman, I worked a little north of there. I worked in Brownsville, East New York. I mean, I could go on and on. You know, this is a tough one. This one, I got to tell you, I've done a lot of disasters. This one humbled me. But it doesn't mean that we're not going to work hard and we're not going to get through it and we're not going to get things done.
We have to take a quick break here, but when we come back, we're going to take a look at our region's future. Let's be honest here. If you think this is going to be the last storm in our lifetimes we see of this scope, you haven't been paying attention. The question is, what, if anything, can be done to help prevent a future natural disaster for causing so much damage? Well, we're going to hear from a preeminent scientist whose research focuses on just that, preparing for storm surges. Please stay with us.